Just a quick note that after the interview, Luve Centralwall, the executive director of the Library Foundation, will be joining us for a short conversation sponsored by Pivot Portland Property Management. He'll be telling us about how the Library Foundation supports our public library system. So stick around if you want to learn more. Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about how our 12-member city council is finding ways to cut down on meetings, our state's announcement of a measles outbreak, a city leader walking back a proposal for allowing open carry in City Hall, why our coastal Dungeness crabbers united against a petition aimed at preventing whale entanglements, and so much more. Plus, we dive into our mailbag and hear from you, our listeners. Joining me on this midweek roundup is our very own executive producer, John Atariani. It's Wednesday, February 25th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Welcome, everyone, to our midweek roundup. John, thank you for joining me.
Hey, Claudia. How's it going?
It's going okay.
We got to hang out yesterday. That was fun.
In real life, yeah.
In real life.
And we found out that the building we were staying in is also where Portland Monthly resides, so that was fun. We got to run into them. And then we found out that across the way, Portland Mercury is also working out of. And we were just like, wow, this is a little ecosystem right here. We figured it out.
All your favorite news orgs, all bundled in one corner of the Inner East Side. Yeah.
We just need Willamette Weekly to move over. Same with Oregonian. We could all just be one Algonquin roundtable. All right. Well, today is a day we look at some of the biggest local news that happened over the weekend, and we'll be doing a good old-fashioned lightning round of 5 headlines. We each have under a minute to summarize, and then we discuss. Understand that this is fun for us, so we do time each other. John, let me get my timer ready to start us off. Beep,
yes,
beep.
and this first story is from some great reporting by Taylor Griggs over at the Portland Mercury. So I'm ready when you are.
Great, and go.
All right. Portland City Council is trying to streamline its really quite complex structure. They voted last week to reduce the number of policy committees they have from 8, which is what they have right now, down to 5. Basically saying the previous structure was way too burdensome. There was a million meetings that they all had to go to. The new committees are going to be Public Works, Housing and Permitting, City Life, Community and Public Safety, and the Committee of the Whole. That's like finance and governance and stuff. They are reshuffling some of the previous committee responsibilities. So like Housing and Permitting is now combining stuff that had been split between the Homelessness and Housing Committee and the Climate and Land Use Committee, for example. This restructuring has eliminated the standalone Climate Committee, which has some people quite worried. But the hope is that this is going to make things a little bit more simple than the way it's been in the past. The new structure is beginning at the end of March.
58 seconds. You
Boom.
are a pro. This sounds like such a good idea. There were too many committees. There were too many meetings. Our 12-member council that's already bogged down by the sheer number alone. And if everyone just said one thing that meeting, that's it. That's the meeting.
Yeah.
I feel like giving them more meetings is not how we're going to be able to get effective policy work rolling. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're streamlining. So it went from what number to what number? I'm so sorry. I didn't quite.
8 down to 5.
8 down to 5. Okay. Well, it should be 8 down to 4. That would be.
Well, I mean, I will say that the Committee of the Whole is like, it's a committee in quotes, but everybody is on it.
Oh, gotcha.
So realistically, there is 4 breakout committees. But yeah, I mean, it is just sort of an interesting symbol of they came in with so much ambition and they're like, we're going to get so much done. We're going to have so many committees. And I think that anybody who's tried to organize something in the past has been like, oh, we made this way too hard on ourselves. Let's slim it down a bit. So bravo.
Do you remember grade school when you learn about committees? Even then I was like, oh, committees are terrible. I remember our teacher was like, Mrs. Serrano, wherever you are, I still remember this. She's like, compromise. Because, we were trying to figure something out as a committee. And we're like, what's that compromise? And she's like, you're all a little sad.
Everyone's a bit disappointed.
And
Welcome
like,
to local government.
That's a committee. And I was like, I hate committees. Here's mine. All right. Ready to go whenever you are.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oregon Health Authority is reporting a measles outbreak. There are 5 reported cases so far in 2026. 4 of those cases have been linked to unvaccinated individuals. The vaccination status of the 5th person is unknown. It sounds like a low number, but an outbreak is defined by the CDC of when there are more disease cases than what is usually expected for a given time within a specific location. And being that Oregon had previously 0 cases, and this disease is exceptionally contagious, they're calling it. OHA is now tracking measles via wastewater, something they've been doing in 2025. Measles typically spreads in the air when someone with a virus coughs or sneezes. Health officials say the best way to avoid contracting measles is by getting vaccinated.
Boom, just 44 seconds. Yeah, I'm having flashbacks of working in the news during COVID where like any time that you said a number out loud, it was immediately out of date because the cases continue rising.
Yeah, so it's probably more than 5 is what I'm hearing.
By the time that this gets to listeners, yeah, I'm sure.
It's so funny. I'm like, by definition, that's an outbreak. A concerned listener, Matt B, wanted us to know that even if you get the disease or vaccinations for a bunch of childhood diseases, if you get the measles infection, you can get them all again. It makes you anti-immune or something. Mm-hmm. They're calling it immunity amnesia. Your body forgets.
Yeah.
Second, if a child gets measles, that can go really, really badly. This isn't like, oopsies, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Symptoms for measles include rash, fever, cough, runny nose, and red eyes.
Ugh.
Yeah, guys.
Yuck. Get them vaccines. It is real, and it is science, and it keeps you healthy. And it keeps me healthy, too, so please do it.
Ultimately, it keeps us healthy, so please do it.
You don't want a podcaster down.
I don't go, what would happen? Are you ready for yours?
Yes, this is another headline from the Portland Mercury, this one from Courtney Vaughn.
All right, and go.
Well, you might have heard about anti-ICE protesters shutting down a city council meeting last week. Well, that clearly rattled some council members. Councilor Loretta Smith floated a proposal that would allow councilors to open carry firearms at city council. She described that it was really scary when these protesters came and interrupted this meeting, basically implying that it's a necessary safety move. Of course, this brought immediate, significant public backlash, this idea, including calls for her resignation. So as of last Friday, Loretta Smith's staff said she actually was not going to pursue this open carry ordinance after all.
How about that?
She says that she is still working with city leaders and security experts to find stronger disturbance protocols and de-escalation strategies at city council.
Perfect. That was a minute. Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, when I read her first, hey, we should bring guns, all I could think of is like, wow, she was so scared. That's just a gut reaction of like, I don't feel safe at work. Mm-hmm. And I completely get that. But following that logic through, so you're just going to start shooting protesters in the face that make you feel unsafe. Now we're in a completely new era of fucked. Let's follow this through logically, Counselor Smith. It's a terrible idea. They allowed someone to basically run through and yell at her face. Mm-hmm. Like that. Mm-hmm. That is not cool either.
Yeah, I agree that some level of security protocol is probably important, but, open carrying guns, especially for Counselor Smith, who says that she is not already a person who is comfortable using firearms. Not the best solution, but a real problem that I hope we can solve.
I don't know how to use guns and I'm scared is like the terrible combo, as we know from
the news.
All right, let's see. Here's mine. Also from Portland Mercury. What is this? It's just Portland Mercury?
Portland Mercury, knocking it out of the park.
Ready when you are.
3, 2, 1, go.
An update to the Zenith reporting Portland Mercury has been tracking here. After an investigation, the city of Portland says Zenith Energy did not violate city code when it constructed and used new piping without authorization at its facility along the Willamette River between 2021 and 2024. Zenith operates an oil transloading and storage facility at the city's Critical Energy Infrastructure Hub, or CEI hub, in Northwest Portland, which is, again, right along the Willamette River. A report released February 19th says the investigation found the Houston-based fossil fuel company was in compliance with its franchise agreement with the city despite unreported construction. The city council passed a resolution in March 2025 requiring Mayor Keith Wilson to open an investigation into potential violations. Concerned citizens, some city council members, and I remain skeptical.
Claudia is skeptical at 54 seconds. Very nicely done. I mean,
yeah,
this is one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe they were found in compliance with this narrow legal question, but like it doesn't really address the broader issue. Namely, Portlanders don't want this fossil fuel infrastructure running through the middle of the city right next to the river in a way where it could explode and poison all of us.
Zenith has been under scrutiny since they opened up that terminal in 2017. For those who are just like, Zenith? What is that? Because storing and transporting oil next to a river in our city stands in direct opposition of the climate goals our city previously set.
Yes, and common sense.
Yeah. It stinks up the area. I live almost directly in front of them, and I can tell you it smells like oil more often than not in certain parts of St. John's. And if we can smell it, it means we're being affected by it because of VOCs. Smelling or inhaling fumes from unrefined oil, crude oil, whatever, possesses serious health risks due to these off-gassing. And immediate effects include headaches, which I've gotten, dizziness. It's just like shit like that where I'm like, what city do we live in? This is Portland. Yeah. Why do I have a headache from oil, you guys? This is ridiculous. I even started to smell Journal John because I was like, who am I reporting this to? This can't be good. And the fact that our city's like, it's fine. No, it can't not. It's just like, it boggles the mind that it's fine because it's like, it can't be fine, you guys. It can't be fine.
Yeah. I mean, but it is also sort of the damage of some of these entrenched legal agreements that have been made that have been on the books for years that are just really hard to untangle.
Yeah. Long-term exposure, just so you know, can cause chronic damage to the lungs, liver, kidneys, and nervous system. So, Yay.
Yay. Would you like to talk about another environmental calamity? Maybe not a calamity, but another environmental issue.
Go for it.
This is from Brian Bayhuth at KLCC.
All right, and go.
So there's a debate underway in Oregon about how to make Dungeness crabbing safer for whales. I didn't know about this, but conservation groups are actually pushing for big new rules to reduce whale entanglements. Basically, whales are getting caught in the lines for crabbing. The state has already put some rules in effect. They're requiring that commercial fleets reduce the number of pots they use, move them to shallower waters earlier in the year. Now there's this big debate over what's called ropeless or pop-up traps. Basically, you can have a trap for crabs, but it doesn't have a line on it. Commercial crabbers agree that safety is really critical, but this stuff is very expensive. It could cost $300,000 to outfit a small boat with these pots, $1 million in larger boats. There was a big hearing at the Oregon Fish and Wildlife Commission last week. The commission voted to reject the proposal to require these things more broadly, but the state is still working on a plan to develop a broader plan, meaning that this conflict is still underway.
Oof. Well, you went a little over, but there was a lot
complicated.
There was a lot of moving pieces there. Just a reminder that the whale that washed up in Yachats, the theory is that it became entangled in these pots. But the thing is that it was in shallow water, so a lot of marine biologists were like, well, something might have already been wrong in order for it to be so disoriented that it went straight into the pots, if that makes sense. Not to say, roped pot's good, but I'm just saying, there's levels to this. There's steps. But that's why our coastline isn't just littered with dead whales, because we have a lot of grabbing going on.
Thank heavens for that. Yeah.
It's because more than one thing needs to happen in order for it to become entangled by a pot, let's put it that way. Because they're usually already not in very deep water. But yeah, I can't imagine someone saying hey, your entire livelihood gone.
Yeah, and crabbers were pissed, but it's like environmental calamity to protect this species, to hurt that species. It is complicated, and we've seen this before.
I hope that they create a committee and everyone is equally annoyed with a solution is what I hope.
It's coming.
All right, well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we're diving into our mailbag. Portland, bundle up, we're going agate hunting. And Newport is home to some of the best agate hunting on the Oregon coast. They even have a super rare and sought after variety named after them, the Newport Blue. And if you're like me and mistake every shiny rock or piece of glass for agate, don't worry, there's usually 1 to 10 unofficial experts on the aptly named Agate Beach ready to tell you what to look out for. Afterwards, you can warm up with a hot meal at local Ocean Seafoods or a South Beach fish market or Clearwater restaurant, all while overlooking sea lions. There is truly something for everyone in Newport. Plan your trip today at discovernewport.com/citycast. That's discovernewport.com/citycast. All right, here is our mailbag. I want to kick things off with a correction. Emily P. wrote in, when listening to your Friday episode, Claudia kept referring to regulated affordable units as Section A units, and they are not. Section A Housing Choice Voucher is a federal program that helps low-income individuals, families, seniors, and people with disabilities afford private market housing. It covers part of the rent, paid directly to landlords. It's completely different than what we were talking about on Friday, which was city-managed affordable units. Nonprofits run these regulated units. They can't just lower their rents because operating the units cost a lot of money. Just so you know, we were talking about how the rents of these units were on par with cheap rents now. The whole point was like a lot of them are sitting empty or they're not being turned over quickly enough. So she's writing and basically saying, hey, it's a little more complicated than that. Many of these units have wraparound services, require rehab, and most carry debt. Then she suggested that maybe we have someone from the affordable housing of that world in particular, because as you and I know, John, affordable housing, large.
Large and deeply complicated and easy to goof up.
Exactly. So she's like, maybe we should have one of them on and they can help clarify and answer questions. And I think that's great. We've had the executive director of Central City Concern, and that was really illuminating. So maybe we'll do that again. Thank you, Emily, for writing in. And I apologize. I want everyone to know that in certain circles, all affordable housing is just called Section 8. And that is like a Coke, Fanta. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Kleenex. It is not exactly what it is.
It's not. Yeah. And so I should have been a lot more clear. But I'm like, it's not Section 8. It's still not correct. So thank you for writing in, Emily. And now we have also I love this. I love when we get voicemails. Yes. I'm going to play it for you now, John. This is regarding our nightmare episode that we had when we spoke to the night pause mayor.
I noticed that you have started enunciating it more because it's very easy to say nightmare.
Yeah. And we both know I'm not good at enunciating because I was raised in Southern California and we have a drawl and nobody wants to point it out, but we do. Also, this is in response to a conversation that I had with Counselor Steve Novick and Olivia Clark when we were talking about how to revitalize downtown. So it's like these two conversations meshed in, and this is his response here.
Hey, this is Kurt out in Beaverton. Just listened to the Nightmare episode and can't believe you missed the name Dragnet for a drag cop show. Hope that helps. Great show.
The context being we somehow delightfully, Claudia, you fell into a conversation with our city councilors about whether cops in drag will save Portland, which made my week. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
I proposed we need more drag, less cops downtown. And Counselor Novick, fresh from committees, was like, how about cops in drag?
Yes.
And then we're like, that's the one. That's the one. And Kurt's like, and this unit will be called Dragnet. And it did help, Kurt. Thank you so much for it. That was my favorite part. He's like, I hope this helps. I'm like, it did. Thank you.
Well, Claudia, you also had a great episode recently about Valentine's Day with our friend comedian Jay Fluelling, where we tried to get him a date. And we got a good amount of response to it. You heard from Brooke, who's a CityCast Portland neighbor. Brooke said, thank you for a comedy Valentine's episode with the fabulous Jay Fluelling. He and Claudia's banter was the perfect levity for the Valentine's theme. Please keep bringing Jay back. He's hilarious. And when he and Claudia are together, it's just perfect LOL moments. I completely agree.
Aw, thank you, Brooke. We appreciate it.
We also heard from frequent commenter Gray Jay, who wrote in and said, I want Jay to find love via CityCast Portland so bad. Jay Finds Love may deserve an entire podcast of its own, but I'd settle for a regular segment circling back on what happens with him after the airing of today's episode. I know the perfect guy is out there, Jay. Claudia, we got to get Jay back on.
Yeah, he also suggested that everyone who is looking for love get a dog, and that's the perfect way. And then he also highlighted, do not steal a dog. So a little help there from Greg. Also
hot
helpful.
Tip.
Thank you. Hot tip. We also received a lot of response from our neighborhood bars episode where you, me, and Julia, our other producer, sat down and discussed some of our favorite neighborhood bars in the area. And Amber B wrote in, Claudia, Julia, John, et al. CityCast neighbor Amber here to weigh in on the neighborhood bar discussion. Peter's Bar and Grill on Northeast 57th and Fremont is my favorite. It's kitty corner from Fire on the Mountain. And if you don't pick Peter's for your wings, well, sir, you are a sucker. Other great options include salads and delicious dressings, made in-house soups, Friday fish and chips, hummus, and the Little League burger. If you know, you know. Definitely a cheers vibe down at Old Peter's.
I don't know. And now I want to know. This also leans to, I think at some point in the future, maybe not right yet, but at some point we have to do a Best Wings episode. There are so many many fierce opinions about chicken wings in Portland. So, all right, I've got one more from the Neighborhood Bars episode. And this is Megan D., a new listener who is recommending a special little spot in the Richmond neighborhood named Bar Mame. It's a little neighborhood basement bar with Art Deco decor and wonderful cocktails. They also pour the best Guinness in town. What makes this bar so special, though, is how friendly and communal the vibe is. People talk to each other. Strangers have interesting conversations. It's just a great spot to sit and enjoy a drink or two. Highly recommended. Sounds like a perfect neighborhood bar to me. Yeah. And it's interesting, like, more than any other segment that we've done, I feel like I don't know a lot of these neighborhood bars because
they're
by
neighborhood
nature,
bars.
It's your neighborhood bar. I don't live in the neighborhood. I don't know the spot. So thanks for cluing me in.
Yeah, and they usually attract neighbors. It's not like, I'm going to go all the way to Kearns to, because it's not your neighborhood bar. That's the beauty of Portland is we have so many. Well, thank you everyone for writing in. If you have any comments or concerns or corrections, hit us up at portland@citycast.fm or go to our show description. It also has our phone number if you want to leave us a nice voicemail. I love those. They're great.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, John, for hanging out with me and going through some of the news. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in a few minutes because we work together.
See you in the next meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Claudia.
Hey, Claudia here. Just a heads up, this conversation is sponsored by Pivot Portland Property Management, whose mission is bringing people together and helping re-energize downtown Portland. I'll be chatting with Luve Centerwall, the executive director of the Library Foundation, about the work they do and how they help our community maintain a thriving public library system. So, Luve, you're a nonprofit in one of Pivot Management's buildings, and they actually paid for you to come on the show to talk about this nonprofit, which is, that's a nice landlord. That's
a good landlord, yeah.
Yeah. So what is the Library Foundation? Because that's why you're on here, is they were just like, people should know about the work that you do. And when I think about libraries, I think of the Multnomah County libraries, the public libraries. Do you exist alongside our public library system? How is that connected?
Yeah, so we're independent of the library, 501c3 nonprofit.
Gotcha.
So we have our own board and governance and all of these things. But all we do and care about is Multnomah County libraries. So we fund programming. We do a lot of early literacy programming. We fund Everybody Reads, which is sort of like the countywide book club happening right now. We fund summer reading. So all of these different programs, and then we advocate and spread library love in our community. Libraries don't just happen. They happen because people care about them and get engaged for them.
Oh, interesting. What do you think makes Multnomah County Library so special?
Well, first of all, I think the people of Multnomah County makes the library special. The people who use it, that's what a library is all about. And Multnomah County residents really use libraries like really no other community. We have the highest circulation per capita in the country in our library system. We had almost 11 million visits to libraries last year. The amazing thing about libraries, I think, is that just sort of like everything happens at libraries. I walked through Central Library downtown just a couple of days ago, and You walk in the door, right to the left is a little space where a social worker has an office where people come in and you walk through. There's somebody in there talking about reaching services. Can be anything from housing to food to whatever else a person might need who's in a difficult situation. You turn to the right and there's reading programs going on. There's story time for kids. There's the teen library. You go upstairs and there's like a sheet music collection that is pretty amazing. There's just all of these things that are connecting and supporting our community happening all at once in this one building. And I think that's just like the amazing thing when you walk into a library, in addition to just the opportunity to browse some books and sit down with a magazine and just breathe for a second, which is equally important part of what libraries can do for our community.
Right. Going back to what a lot of us remember as being our first incentive for reading books, which is a personal pan pizza at Pizza Hut. Have you guys considered perhaps sponsoring? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll tell you this. Summer reading in Multnomah County engages like 100,000 kids every year, right? Or close to it. And incentives is a huge part of that. And we have no shame about it. We will do anything to get a book in a kid's hand and get them reading, slushies or pizzas or whatever. Many years ago, there was no incentive program for summer reading. We had about 5,000 participants. But then we engaged all these businesses all across the community for pizza slices and Slurpees and all kinds of stuff kids love, and connecting the businesses to the community, to our reading programs in the summer has just made all the difference.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know, a personal pan pizza goes a long way. Your office is located downtown, correct? Like in a pivot management building?
Yeah, we're on the 5th and Alder kind of area.
So you have it's almost like an eagle's eye view of what's going on downtown. And if you were able to influence how the city approached downtown revitalization, like what would be your suggestion as someone who goes to work there every day?
I think the city is doing a lot of the right things right now. But to me, what I've seen working and that I think a lot of people see working is just make sure we protect and support and enhance the art and culture that happens downtown and in our central city. I think that's such a huge driver of people coming down. And that's actually a space where not very huge investments can make a really big difference. So focusing on that and continuing to focusing on that, to me, is the most important part.
Nice. Well, thanks again, Louvet, for being here. Again, check out libraryfoundation.org to learn more about this organization. We're going to have a link for you in our show notes as well, so you're just a click away. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks for all the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this show, share it with a friend or rate and leave us a good review. It really helps us out. And don't forget, you can support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm for all the details. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you with Slims.